Cecilia Villanueva. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you,
You know,
Charles.
I have to pull that back, Cecilia. I'm sorry, affectionately known as Cece. We're going to use Cece moving forward because you said, hey,
Absolutely.
friends call me Cece. I want to be a friend, right? So, Cece, you are the head of communication strategy and D&I for One Media's Kids and Family Latin America.
That's
I
right.
want to get a sense of, because you have a lot to unpack today, right? I want to get a sense of what you meant when you said, I thought I was coming to the United States on a 1 year journey. And it blossomed into you becoming the head of communication strategy for diversity and inclusion for Warner Media, Kids, Family, in Latin America. How did that happen?
It was a journey, like most things. And I thought I was coming here, like you say, 1 year adventure. I was a rookie at a news agency, Reuters, the news agency, and they offered to transfer me straight out of college to Miami. And I said, sure, imagine the world was out there and I had my degree and I was coming here and moving on. And one thing led to another. And I guess my journey led to CNN. So CNN opened up worlds for me that I never imagined and allowed me to jump from the newsroom to the business side and now moving forward onto it to the entertainment side. So it was
Let's
an
go into it.
amazing. You want me to unpack a little bit of that journey?
Yeah, let's unpack that a little, right? Because there's a lot in there, right? So, okay, you got that 1 year gig ish, right? You came over, you were a journalist in the newsroom, you knocked that out the park. You went into business development, you knocked that out the park, sales and marketing, knocking that out the park, and then public relations. How did you always land on your feet? And not, I mean, landing on your feet is one thing. You don't get to head of comm strategy just by landing on your feet. Talk to me about the leadership and the management that you've had to put in place to actually excel in all of the roles that you've had.
So first, I must say that I'm super grateful and very thankful for the leadership and management that was already in place in the
Uh,
company that gave me the opportunity to move into spaces where there was a need for leadership. And many times, I was scared to death. I was frankly terrified. I sort of knew I could do this, but then I didn't. And still, I took the plunge. So many times when I think back on my career and even to this current role today, I am grateful that I got the opportunity to learn on the job. And even when I was scared, I had mentors and I had women and men that were there to, hold me when I faltered and they had my back. And that's how I continue to move forward. Jumping from one place to the next, I get bored very easily. That's what's behind all this. And I'm very curious. So learning a lot of things is important to me. And that's how it went.
Now, I hear you on how you were able to progress, but talk to me about your leadership style for a second. How do you lead your individuals, the teams members that report into you, or that you work, laterally with?
Let me weave that with my cultural background too, in a sense, with my story. I have always been very aware in my career that I was different because I made all of my adult life, all of my career here in the US. I have always been aware of how different I was. And that has sparked a curiosity about other people and their own uniqueness. And so my leadership style has a lot to do with asking questions, with being curious, with wanting to learn, with giving space for other people to tell me their stories and their needs. So I much rather lead by being equals and bringing our own uniqueness than by being the traditional sense of leadership. I believe strongly in learning from everybody and picking pieces and bits and pieces that make, at the end, they make us better. So I guess that's my leadership style, a very convivial, a very collegiate type of leadership.
No, I could easily see you walking in a room that you're leading meetings on, maybe new people or whatever, and you're saying, all right, everybody, leave your titles at the door. We need to get the best ideas out here to move forward. And I mean, that's at least what I get a sense of. You're saying, hey, leave it at the door, check your egos, let's sit down, let's get the best product. You can disagree with me, be respectful, but you can disagree with me. And, but let's see what we get out here. And to me, that's a wonderful style. I try to use that same style myself. So, I'm going to be a big advocate for it. But now, question for you. you had an opportunity to be involved in, I guess, work on a couple of documentaries that were pretty big, at their time. I think it was Black in America was one, and more importantly, especially being Hispanic Heritage Month, was Latina in America. But you also worked with underreported minority stories. So, I know that was a brief time in your career. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That was a brief time in my career, but it's one that I am very committed to still and very passionate, and that continued my my interest in learning about different communities and bringing to light different stories. I'm all about storytelling. I had this amazing opportunity to be part of the franchise CNN in America, of which Black in America and Latino in America were bigger franchises. So under Soledad O'Brien and Geraldine Moriba. And my role there was more on the, how do we get more people to watch this, right? How do we get people involved? So I was working with marketing and PR and all the digital strategy to make sure that we brought these stories to light. So that is, in that space is where we were focusing on underreported stories and bringing them out to the world. I felt that for me was fulfilling. It had this flavor of mission, in a sense. It resonated with me, and I had the opportunity to, yes, work with amazing individuals in that field.
The beautiful thing is that we were recipients. We watched it. So great job to yourself and that entire team, because that was awesome. You sort of hinted earlier about being a person who watched individuals, but you always knew that you were different, right? And so I know when we were talking earlier, you had a conversation piece that was talking about how you became a Latina. Can you talk about that a little? Let us understand what that actually means.
Absolutely. When I got here, I am originally from Argentina, South America. When I got here, my point of view was that of somebody who had grown up in Argentina, South America. I knew Latin America as a region. I knew Hispanic as somewhat involved with Spain, but I had no real concept of what Latino or Latina or Latinx now meant. And it was in this passing, very casual little conversation where somebody asked me, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Argentina, South America. And this person was clearly baffled. And they said, but you don't look Latin. You don't sound Latin. Yes, that was exactly my reaction. And I was like, what am I supposed to look like? What am I supposed to sound like? And that opened up a whole world to me. And I came into it from a sense of curiosity and asking questions. And through the years, I have built on that identity. I have learned how to cook mofongo dominicano from a Dominican. So many words to my Spanish language, which is not the same country per country, and the music. And so many elements have come into place. And there's a few things that I've learned. First of all, I am a Latina. I have embraced that. Many components of different cultures and experiences have helped me build this identity. And ultimately, there's no one way of being Latino. And I'm sure you will hear this from Latin people all over, right? There's so many colors and flavors and sounds that make the fabric stronger. Yeah. And I am just one part of that. So that is how I became a Latina.
I got it. Okay, makes perfect sense to me now that I hear it. Now, you're not just a leader in, a Fortune X company, right? You're a Latina in a Fortune X company. And when, we look out, we see all these stats on the demographics of leaders past a certain level, great job here, but when you get above that, things sort of get a little murky, right? As a leader in a company of scale who happens to be Latina, how do you build on and wait a minute, and you're involved in fact, you're heading up diversity and inclusion for WarnerMedia Kids and Family in Latin America. What are you doing to help bring, I guess, a larger influx of leaders in, whether it be through mentoring, whether it be through sponsoring? What are you doing specifically that is helping bridge that divide?
Just what I would say is, first of all, it's nothing you do single-handedly, okay? So you also need companies, institutions, organizations, schools to be aware of the need to make more room at the table for more voices and more life stories, and representation, visibility is important. Now, me personally, as a leader, one of the things that I find is very helpful, especially when you are thinking of Latinas women in leadership, is working with them to ensure that they speak up, that they take that space. Sometimes the opportunities are there. We need to be brave, and we need to speak up for ourselves and make room. And the other thing that I would say is to not be afraid of the questions. Many times we know we're different, we know we're women, and many times the questions can lead to opportunities and conversations, and everybody has a life story. When you allow people and use those questions as opportunities to put yourself out there, you are already helping everybody else make room for each other. So I'd say that this is not a one person, responsibility, frankly. I say that this is something, it's something we do every day, not only during Hispanic Heritage Month, and all together.
I was in a room not too long ago where individuals were talking about quotas and things of that nature, and somebody was adamant, like, I hate that word quota. I don't like to have people feel like there's a line, a bar that people have to meet, and once we meet that bar, I'm good, I'm done, aka get rid of the quota system. They know it's required because that's going to give you a level of accountability, right? And so as we're my thought on that is, as we're having the conversation and I'm looking at where Black and Brown sit in the quota system, and we start thinking about the work that needs to be done from a mentoring perspective, from a sponsorship perspective, hopefully it's not in alignment to meet a quota. It's in alignment to get the best quality individuals into seats. And if it falls out of the demographic alignment, so be it, right? If you see, population wise, we're at 10, 12%, but in the corporate social structure at a level and above, at 25%, so be it. If those are the best and brightest, and the sponsorship and the mentoring that you and others are doing to help get those individuals there is actually working, so be it, right?
Let me get you away a little bit from the percentages conversation and think about the framework in which those things need to happen, in my view. And I think it's all about a state of mind. It's about, again, building upon curiosity. It's about asking questions and not just assuming things about people. And it's about creating opportunities, creating them, but don't just wait for the opportunities to be created. Create those opportunities for yourself. Speak up, knock on doors. So I know when we look at numbers, we may see them, we may get discouraged, or we may, get happy about them. We have, moved forward. But when you think about the job that we need to do all together, you are creating a space to think about a mindset. And it won't matter whether we are Latinos, we are Black, we are Asian. It's a mindset of diversity and inclusion. And that will happen when we have more voices at the table, bringing their own perspectives. And then perhaps we will not have to focus so much on that percentage, because we will be more used to just having diversity and being inclusive right there around us. Generations that will come behind us, maybe this will be much more natural to them. And that, I think, is something that we need to work towards. Normalizing inclusion, normalizing it, making it like everyday life.
Everyday life. I love that. Let me get you out of here on this one, right? So Warner Media's equity and inclusion theme for this year, like this being a great segue, is about moving forward.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Together, siempre pa'lante, which in Spanish is move forward. And I love that the equity and inclusion team went with that theme for Hispanic Heritage Month, because to me, it means that we have moved forward already. We are further down the road, and we still need to acknowledge that there's much to do. And that is the theme. But I will add my own little interpretation about siempre pa'lante. And this has to do with this Latino fire, if you will, this strength that we bring as a community, this zest for life, and this yearning to move forward. There's a reason why we are here, and we have made in the past so many contributions to the culture. And I think that that is something you can't deny. Latinos have this strength, this fire to move siempre pa'lante. And so we do. And it resonates with me in a way that I cannot convey with words. Maybe my life is a little bit of an example of how I came in for just, let's see what this is like. And I kept building and moving forward and adding to it and becoming richer. And that is, to me, pa'lante. It's about life. It's about moving forward. It's about achieving. It's about being visible and recognized and becoming part of the bigger fabric.
Anybody watching will have a good understanding of that journey for you becoming a Latina and you arriving there and still growing on that journey, and hopefully, and I know not even hopefully, passing it along to those who are coming into your wake, whether they're Latina or not. Because for me, when I sit down and I was making the notes for this, the stories that you have are so rich. You've given me a tip of the iceberg. So I'm grateful for that tip. I'm going to follow up with you because I want to hear more, if I'm being honest with myself. But Cece, we appreciate you at NAMIC Atlanta and want to thank you for engaging with us and allowing for our audience to hear your story. So thank you and be well.
Thank you, Charles. I appreciate the opportunity and I appreciate what you guys do at NAMIC. And thank you for giving me this space to continue the conversation.
Oh,
thank you.